I'm not sure how many gigs I have left, and I am ensconced in a cold right now. My wife gave me her cold, so I wasn't necessarily going to do the news today. But I saw a news report that was citing that Julian Assange had been charged. The Washington Post has put this out. I don't necessarily think the Washington Post is lying. Apparently, it was inadvertently revealed. They've been charged with what? We have no idea. And before even getting to the story, this sets a remarkable precedent. It asks two main questions that needs to be asked. What the hell are other news organizations doing where they're not charged for releasing information? And if we have a vigorous news, this kind of fourth wheel or whatever they called it, fourth plank, why aren't they getting charged? And doesn't this set the precedent for them to be charged? I mean, at the end of the day, Julian Assange released factually true information. Nothing he's ever been shown to release has been a lie. And in releasing factually true information, they are now going after somebody, and going after somebody that is not even a citizen of this country. This is phenomenal. Now, we assumed that there was this kind of secret investigation, but up to this point, it had never been revealed that that's what was taking place. Meaning, they never showed their hand. Well, incompetence is rampant in the Trump administration. The Obama administration didn't go after Julian Assange in this way because they thought it would set a horrible precedent that you're effectively going after a journalist. Regardless of what you want to say, the information he's releasing is factually true, and it applies to a journalistic endeavor. He's not a member of this country, meaning he's not a citizen of this country. He's literally a foreign actor, a European actor. I think he lives in Australia. He was an Australian citizen. Now he's an Ecuadorian citizen. They're trying to strip away citizenship with a U.S.-led effort in Ecuador. But that put to the side, this man started an organization where they started accepting factually true information about items that take place around the world, particularly within regards to the United States government. It's not just the U.S. They released trove of information on the Russians also. And this administration has taken a hawkish stance into going after and prosecuting somebody who's not a U.S. citizen. Not to mention who is pushing journalistic information. That is amazing precedent. And the idea that the other media organizations doesn't necessarily stand up for them, but they break their backs for Jim goddamn Acosta, is, it's a demoralizing thing to media, or at the very least it should be, that this guy is essentially eating their lunch and doing their job. And instead of them standing up for him, saying, yes, this is a journalist. Yes, this guy's releasing factually true information. Yes, this guy is doing the news in these grand, epic ways. What the news is supposed to be. Holding political leaders accountable. Because, again, the basic question emerges. How do you know? How are you supposed to keep your government accountable if you don't know what your government is doing? They have every impetus to essentially say that this is work product, these are state secrets, especially if it's talking about waste, fraud, and abuse. State secret. We can't tell that. We can't tell that. Not everything that's a state secret is a state secret. And there's some things that are kept state secret just because they don't want the public to know. Releasing information showing that the United States was breaking the law in mass surveillance on an entire population. Well, that's breaking the law. The public should have known that. But you didn't have a media that would tell you that. It took Assange. And yes, I still believe that the leaks for Clinton and that they released for the DNC were apt and necessary. So, let's go through the story real quick. Let's see. All right. Right here. WikiLeaks found that Julian Assange has been charged under a sealed prosecutors under seal. Has been charged under seal. Prosecutors inadvertently revealed in a recently unsealed court filing, a development that could significantly advance the probe of the Russian interference in the 2016 election, has been a major implications for those who publish government secrets. Yeah. I mean, if you can go after Julian Assange, you can go after anybody. The disclosure came in the filings in a case unrelated to Assange. Assistant U.S. Attorney Dwyer, urging a judge to keep the matter sealed, wrote that due to the sophistication of the defendant and the publicity surrounding the case, no other procedure is likely to keep confidential the fact that Julian Assange has been charged. Later, Dwyer wrote that the charges would need to remain sealed until Assange is arrested. Assange has been locked in an embassy for the past 6 years, against what the UN ruling, essentially making the point that they should let him go. There are no charges against him with the exception of Britain, who kept a bogus charge after Sweden dropped their charges. This is nonsense. This is nonsense on a large scale. Right here. It was not immediately clear what charges Assange would face. In the past, prosecutors had contemplated pursuing a case involving conspiracy, theft of government property, or violating the Espionage Act. But whether to charge the WikiLeaks founder was hardly a foregone conclusion. In the Obama administration, the Justice Department had concluded that pursuing Assange would be akin to prosecuting a news organization. That was right. That was correct. In the Trump administration, though, Attorney General Jeff Sessions, who's just been handing his walking papers, taken a more aggressive stance and vowed to crack down on the government leaks. Well, he's not there anymore. One of Assange's attorneys, Barry Pollock, the only thing more irresponsible than charging a person for publishing truthful information would be pursuing a public filing, would be to put in the public filing information that clearly was not intended for the public. I'm sorry, this is hard. It's hard to see. The only thing more irresponsible than charging a person for publishing truthful information would be put in a public filing information that would clearly was not intended for the public and without any notice to Mr. Assange. Obviously, I have no idea if he actually has been charged or for what, but the notion that the federal criminal charges can be brought based on the publication of truthful information is an incredibly dangerous precedent to set. Yeah, a media organization publishes factually true information and the federal government decides to go after the media organization. That's amazing. The other media organizations doesn't see the precedent that this sets, acting as if WikiLeaks is something else. This will fall on your head one day also. Believe me. WikiLeaks responded to this. Mind you, on Twitter, I still say there's nothing more ridiculous than a tweet. But, right here. Washington Post confirms the secret charges against WikiLeaks publisher Julian Assange. Long-running grand jury into WikiLeaks started in April 2010 after the publication of a video revealing the slaying of 2 Reuters journalists in Iraq. We murdered 2 Reuters journalists. WikiLeaks exposed the fact that we murdered them. The U.S. government, instead of dealing with the fact that you just murdered 2 Reuters journalists and that 90% of the people that you were murdering were civilians, turned around and say, hey, the problem here is that you're exposing it, not that the fact that we're doing it. For fuck's sake. Alright, I'm gonna end this here. Because I don't want my signal to die out on me. I thought they responded also. I thought they said something else, but maybe I'm wrong. Right here. Serious issues of the Europeans in the United States versus WikiLeaks. Yes, the United States claims jurisdiction over a non-U.S. publisher in European publishing from Europe. At the same time, the United States says, no, the First Amendment protections extend to Europe. The United States claims universal jurisdiction for liabilities, but not for rights. We claim that we can essentially go after anybody anywhere in the world. But that First Amendment protections don't extend to the people anywhere else in the world. So we can be hurt by everybody or anyone in the world, but the laws doesn't extend. Now, the catch is, the fact of the matter is our laws don't extend to those other people in the world. I find that's an amazing precedent to set, that we can go after somebody in a completely different country for publishing factually true information. Essentially, we can attack other news organizations around the world. That's an amazing precedent to set. But we'll see. I'll leave this here. I don't want to keep this one long. I just want to put this out there so people would know and be aware. What's what somebody said? Business as usual. And yeah, business as usual is right. Make America Great folks are idiots. Every president is a puppet except Trump. Give me a break. Nathan Kettle. Yeah, these guys are magnificently in the weeds on this stuff. I mean, I can admit that when Obama comes in with that soaring hope and change rhetoric, that I was taken for a sucker, and as long as a lot of people that were taken for suckers, they will have their day of reckoning, and for whatever reason they don't fully grasp it yet, that they're being taken for idiots. I'm sorry. You have a president that essentially gave billions of dollars, or put $1 trillion of wealth or of debt on our backs in order to give his cronies a tax cut, and went through the process again of trying to go in around Congress to give another tax cut to his cronies. Not to mention giving up public lands and all this other stuff. He's not working in your interests. He's working in the interests of the people who are putting money in his pocket. He is no different than the other presidents that are there, with the exception that he's just a little bit more racist and a little bit more overt with that level of racism. Sorry. That's your president. Make America great. It's not make America great. It's enrich his own pockets. So, I'll leave this here. Thanks all. If you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe. You can always support through PayPal or Patreon. Thanks all.